if I had a wife, I'd let THIAGO shag my wife just for those 45 minutes of football. That's why Liverpool are going to win the league. Again.
Okay, well, what an intro that was. Welcome
Spoiler
back.
alert, that's my number one spot, even though I'm starting from the bottom.
Don't fucking spoil the... I mean, it was pretty obvious. This is the Reverbium Premier League predictions podcast, I think we'll just call it.
Which is 2 weeks late, technically.
Which is 2 weeks. Well, we'll blame Sean for that.
It makes our job easier, but it's 2 weeks late because we are 2 weeks into the season.
At the end of the video, I'll put both mine and Sean's tables next to each other so you can compare them. But obviously, I'm not going to do it now because it's going to be a spoiler. So we'll start from the relegation zone and move our way up. And we'll probably just get straight into it. I don't think there's anything else to say. We've already wasted enough time. So yeah, 20th position. I'll let you go first.
So my one, it was a no-brainer for me. It's West Brom. Mm-hmm. It was always going to be West Brom. They just don't have a good enough squad. Simple as.
Yeah.
They're not good enough.
I don't think anything else needs to be said, really. I also have West Brom, and personally, I think Slaven Bilic is very underrated as a manager. I think he's saved a lot of teams. Well, he saved a lot of seasons for the teams he's managed. But I feel they're diving right back to the Championship, and they've had the worst start currently, haven't they? They've conceded 8 goals.
Yeah, it's not been a great start for them. And so you just look through the team and there's just nothing excites you.
Yeah.
They've obviously signed, I'm going to really butcher his name, Diangana from West Ham.
Yeah.
Which he's looking good, to be fair, but he's not going to save them.
Well,
you look through the rest and he's got nothing to help him out.
Well,
nothing at all.
Yeah, I also looked at their Championship record last season, and they drew 17 games. So they had the fewest losses. They only had 7 losses, but they drew 17 games. And you've got to think they're not going to be drawing 17 games this season, are they? Those games they drew are probably going to be losses.
When you're failing to get those wins against Championship teams, when you're coming up against some of the teams that are in the Premier League, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get anywhere near it. They're going to be losses easily.
No. So we'll move on to 19th, which for me is Fulham. I thought it was hard to choose between the two, but I think Fulham have the advantage of having Shahid Khan as their owner, and if they really wanted to give money to spend on a transfer window, Shahid Khan's probably going to be the best person to do that.
And they have their saving grace, which is Mitrovic. He has a little bit of Premier League experience. He's obviously proved himself in the Championship. As we all know, doesn't always convert to the Premier League, but he will score goals. He has scored goals already.
Yeah.
In the opening weekends, so that's why I put them above West Brom. But again, apart from that, they're not good enough. They're just not good enough. They don't have the players in their squad again to be able to compete.
The next one for 18th for me, and I think for you as well, is West Ham, the club that's in complete disarray right now.
So,
go on.
I wasn't automatically putting them in there.
No.
With a couple of teams above, I did think about putting them as well. Probably one which might be a surprise to some people, which we'll go on to in a bit, for how low they are. But yeah, West Ham they're a mess at the moment. They're an absolute mess.
They had the whole Mark Noble thing on Twitter. Yeah, that was
about the sale of Diangana.
Yeah, they really didn't like that. The players are seemingly in a bit of a I don't know if conflict is the right word, but there's something going on behind the scenes. Fans hate the owner. Sorry, it's just a nightmare. They could survive. Like I agree with you. There's teams above them that probably don't have much of a better chance, but we'll have to see in that one.
The only difference West Ham have to the two other teams are put in the relegation zone is they do actually have the players. They have the quality in their team. The problem they have is that the players they do have that are good quality are injury prone.
Yeah.
That's their only downfall. Is if they can put everything on the field and actually play well, and their top players can stay fit, then they have every chance of staying up.
Definitely.
I believe that, but I can't see it happening. Just because obviously with the later start to the season, your games are being more condensed together, so we're going to see more injuries this season. And when you have an injury-prone squad, it's going to happen. And I can't see that they're getting the shit together, but basically quick enough to be able to sort this.
I'm not confident enough to say the next one's going to be different between the two of us because I think we've put the same one for this as well. I'm going to say 17th Aston Villa. Did you put Aston Villa?
I've also done Aston Villa. This is a really boring one so far. Yeah, agree.
Well, they barely survived last season. I think they probably should have gone down. The only reason they're not bottom three for me is they retained Jack Grealish.
And they've also brought in Ollie Watkins, who did really well. Again, it's another thing of Championship goals don't guarantee Premier League goals, but he does look good, and hopefully that'll be something to help them. Although saying that, at the time we're recording this, they are currently drawing 0-0 to a 10-man Sheffield, so it's not looking great there either.
Good transition for me, because 16th I have Sheffield United. Which
exactly the same. which I thought would be a controversial one, putting them so low.
I swear we did
well they did last season.
We didn't agree to like our tables beforehand. We just did it by ourselves.
So I just did this by myself, but I was always going to put them lower down this season.
Yeah, they've lost the magic. They lost Dean Henderson back to United.
Yeah, they've lost Henderson, and I'm looking through their squad, and I don't know where the goals are going to come from.
Yeah, they're a bit of a mess. They needed signings, and I don't think they've got any. Did they get any signings?
Well, they brought in Ramsdale from Bournemouth as a replacement for Dean Henderson, which I don't think is a bad goalkeeper. He's not obviously up there as a great goalkeeper, but we'll see about that. But yeah, just looking for that team, you've got no one as an attacking player that's a proven Premier League goal scorer.
No.
And that's where they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I think I agree 100% with you. I know people are going to be like, they were 9th last season. Football's a topsy-turvy sport. Anything can happen. Leicester won the league.
It's not just the fact that they haven't made any signings. It's also the fact that the teams that were above them, that they'd want to then push for, they have made the signings, which then just puts them even further behind. That they've not gone forward with their team. Like they've lost Henderson, and so they've not brought anyone else in for the rest of the team really. So yeah, I can't really see them doing much this season, to be honest.
Well, I honestly say that the bottom half of the table was pretty easy to predict for us. Not that we're going to be right, but
well, we'll see if it was easy to predict at the end of the season, because they could prove us all wrong.
Yeah, but the hardest part of the table to predict was about 10th to 15th for me.
Yeah,
so
exactly the same. So for me, between that, they could finish in any of those orders, like any of those positions.
Yeah,
there's no reason why I've set them definitely on a certain place particularly. So they're quite interchangeable for me.
I have a few reasons why I put this team at 15th, and that team is Newcastle.
Okay, I've gone with Brighton here.
Brighton.
I'm going different, yeah.
Well, I'll say why I think Newcastle first at 15th.
Yeah.
They're currently missing a few key players out from injury. St. Maximin is currently freshly injured. I don't know if you knew that.
Although it's not, I don't know if it's looking too serious, so
it might not be, but I feel like they need to come off early and start getting the results now before the season settles, and I just don't see it. And we all know the ownership issue with Newcastle and all of it. Are they going to get bought out? Are they not? They hate their owner. They don't. They do. you're like, that all of this controversy. It's like Manchester United for me as a United fan. Everyone's like Glazers out, Woodward out, all of this, and you're like, are they going to fuck with the players? Is it going to fuck with the fans? That Newcastle are a team that I want to do better than I've predicted. I want them to be about 10th, 11th, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Newcastle ones because it's one of those, not being a fan. Obviously, I don't want them to do better than my team. But it's one of those that they are. If you think of Premier League clubs, they are a Premier League club. They are.
Agree.
No matter what, even though they don't perform or haven't performed on the field for a long time, they are still a big club, and I feel like they do deserve to be in a better place than what they are.
And I'd love it if we beat them.
It's more hope that
I'd love it.
It's more that I hope that for them, and I do think they've obviously brought in Ryan Fraser from Birmingham, Bournemouth. Jesus Christ, too many B teams. Who I quite liked to look at him last season, or last couple of seasons. I thought he played quite well, so I thought he was a good purchase. So I think St Maximin could do really well this season if obviously injury isn't too serious and he's able to come back and play a lot of games. So I think anywhere in that between 11th, 15th is where I think Newcastle becomes, but I'll put them a bit higher.
Yeah,
so I'll put Brighton in there mainly because, again, it's another one of those teams that haven't really done much from last season. They brought in Lallana, who I've always really liked. So Liverpool fan, I loved him at Liverpool, but he's just not the player he was. I see why he's gone there. I see why both, like the player and the club, both, like why he's gone there and why Brighton brought him in, because he is a good player, but I just don't think he's going to get back to anywhere near what he was. So I don't think he's going to make that much of an impact. And again, look at the Brighton team, where are the goals going to come from?
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking.
Well, to me, Lallana peaked at the Euros. So,
yeah. So again, they're a bit like for me with that Newcastle spot. Is that they could be anywhere and around there. I don't think they'll go down. I think the teams, other teams in the league that are just so not good that the Brighton just have that net of safety. I think had maybe like West Ham not have their problems, had a Sheffield United made a few more signings, those sort of things, then I think they could be in danger of going down, or could have been. I think they'll get enough points to be able to get stay up.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on to 14th now, and for 14th, I've put Southampton. I don't think you put Southampton, but I did.
No, I put Burnley.
You put Burnley. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Southampton, I think, kind of like Newcastle, they've been here for a while. When's the last time? It was about 8 years they've been in the Prem. I want to say, non-stop. They've continuously been in the Prem, and they have Danny Ings, and Danny Ings was robbed of the Golden Boot last season, and I feel like he turned a mediocre Southampton side into a goal scoring threat and a team you might want to worry about. And my reasoning for putting them 14th is because I don't know how long they're going to keep hold of Danny Ings. I feel like everyone's seen what he can do this season, and whether he goes in the next few weeks or whether he goes in January, I feel like he's going to go. I could be wrong. They could keep hold of him, but it's not just him. I don't think they're strong enough. There are teams ahead of them that I feel like are too strong, and I think the opening 2 games of the season have sort of skewed my sort of thought process here, because they have not done well to start this season so far. I don't think they're going to get much better, so I put them as 14th. You put Burnley?
Yeah, I'll put Burnley. The reason I didn't put Southampton that low is the same thing. The Danny Ings situation is he was scoring goals for fun at the end of last season, and I think they will keep hold of him. just because I don't see who would come in for him where it would be tempting for him to go.
Well, it'd take a lot of money to get him out of the club.
And then obviously being 28 as well, he's a bit more of a gamble for a club to take him as he is getting that bit older. They might want to go for a younger forward. So I can't see him leaving, which is why I've kept Southampton higher.
Okay.
And I've tried not to let the opening game sway me too much. Obviously, there's some things you can take, some things you can't really take into, because obviously it is a bit of luck of who they get in their first two games.
Yeah.
Of the results they have, and I just think over the long term, I think Southampton will get results. So I think they'll be a bit higher up. Okay. They'll be able to pick off those teams below them. They'll be able to get some points off the teams around them, like that mid-table spot. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll get higher up.
Yeah, fair enough. You said Burnley 14th as well. So...
Yeah.
Sorry, we had an interruption.
Yeah, but Burnley again is another one of those that they don't inspire me at all to think they're going to get results from anywhere. I think they'll pick up points at home where they do their lovely, boring football of getting everyone behind the ball and not really doing much and boring you into not being able to score. But then it's again, if Nick Pope can stay fit, that will help them. If he gets injured, they're fucked. Yeah. I'm sorry. He's a great goalkeeper and he's saved them a lot. I know bids have been put in for Tarkowski at the back. He's a great defender. If he goes, that puts him in danger. And then I just don't see where they're going to get goals from as well. Wood and Barnes will get you a few goals, and Rodriguez will get you a couple. But apart from that, you're not going to get much there. I just can't see them really getting many wins this season, if I'm honest. So I'll put them a bit lower down.
I agree with you 100% there. That's why I put Burnley 13th. I don't think I need to say anything else because you've pretty much spoken exactly my thoughts on Burnley. So what have you put at 13th?
My 13th was Newcastle.
Oh, right, well,
I think that better than what you thought they're going to be. So I think they'll be able to get some results. So I think they'll be solid mid-table.
All right, we're moving on to 12th now. I put Brighton, so pretty much.
They're not getting that high. Not getting that high.
Look, I think they're in for a better season than you do, but I don't think they'll get any higher than 12th. I think 12th.
I've said this for most teams, but who's going to score them goals?
Well, it's like we said earlier. Anything from 11th to 15th, they can all fucking switch around. Brighton could be 15th. And Newcastle could be 11th.
But
we don't know.
But Brighton are lowest down one, so I don't think they're getting that high.
I just think they'll get lucky, but that's just my view there. You haven't done your 12th yet.
My 12th is you love this team after this weekend, Crystal Palace.
Oh, yeah.
You love playing against them. You love to see it. So I think they played quite well actually at this weekend.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
So I don't know how he does it, but Roy Hodgson gets results out of that team. And sometimes gets against big teams as well. Obviously they beat you this weekend. They beat you last season as well.
There was a stat
they beat City last season.
They have some of the best records against the top 6 clubs.
The top 6, yeah. It's ridiculous what he's able to do. So again, going back to the thing of that mid-table they can switch around a lot. I've just put them that bit higher up because if they're able to take those points against the bigger clubs, the other teams around them won't do that, and that'll get them higher, and they'll sit around there. I think how Zaha is still playing there, I have no idea. Obviously, he did leave and come back. I think he's good enough to leave and go to a different team again.
Definitely.
So where he'd go if people are for him, I don't know. I can't imagine Man U going back in again for him.
I don't see it. But I agree 100% with you because I put Crystal Palace 11th as well. I'm not gonna say I didn't get swayed a bit to put them further up because they beat us. Um, but like the only thing I can see being a problem is like I think they've got a bunch of injuries now and they're just starting to pile up, and maybe that could lead to a bit of a struggle in the second half of the season. But
I think they'll be fine.
I see them being mid-table. I see them being mid-table.
So you look through the squad as well. They have a lot of Premier League experience in their squad, which helps a lot. Which a lot of the teams below them don't have. Like they have players that have been in this league for a long time. They know what they're doing. They may not be the top players. They may not be people you think of immediately if you think of a Premier League player, but they've been in the league for a while. They have great experience. So they've got Gary Cahill, who obviously won't play a lot. He's getting older, but he was captain of Chelsea. Like he's an influential player. He's gonna help them a lot. Van Aanholt at the back, he's great. He's great. I love Max Meyer. He's great. If he's on, Ayew and Zaha front, great pace. They're gonna, as they showed against Man United, if they come against a team that aren't able to cope with pace at the back, they're gonna tear them apart. So I think Crystal Palace will do well. Hodgson he's been there for a while now as well. He's managed to stay there. He does the job. He does a great job with them. I can't see them being low down the table. I think they'll be pushing up again this year.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I put them. Who did you put 11th?
Southampton was my 11th.
Okay, fair enough.
So going through before.
I don't think there's much else you can say.
They'll get results. I'd probably, in hindsight, I would probably switch Crystal Palace and Southampton round. But yeah, as I said, they're probably going to swap anyway. Or those clubs can interchange. I've said that already before.
Yeah. Well, that's the bottom half of the table. it could go either way. I don't know. We could get them all right. We could get none of them right. I think we'll get a few in the relegation zone right. But we'll kick off with 10th now, and my 10th place team is Leeds. I think Leeds are going to surprise some people this season. I think they surprised you in the first game.
Yeah, I was not expecting to concede 3 goals against them. I can say that now.
Well, the reason I put them 10th as well, and I'll get to it, they beat Fulham, but they lost to you. But both games were 4-3. And my biggest issue with Leeds is they look dangerous going forward, but they're very weak at the back because they've let in 7 goals in the first 2 games, and I don't know if that's going to help them going forwards. I feel like that's going to... They need to bolster their defence a bit. They need someone there to... I don't know. They just need... They need a solid centre-back or someone who's going to stop that from being a common occurrence, because they can't have 4-3s every game. They can't be scoring goals and then worrying about if their defence is going to hold up. So that's why I put them 10th. I can see them going either way. They could go ahead in the league. They could slip more towards mid-table. Well, they are mid-table, but more towards like the back half. But at the moment, I see them as 10th place. I don't know your thoughts on that, or what your 10th is.
I put them a bit higher just because in my mind I've gone, yes, they conceded that many goals. But you think first game of the season, they're going up against the Premier League champions who ran away with it last season. So for me, conceding that many goals, disregard it. Well, I don't think it's too much of an issue. Obviously, they conceded again another 3 against Fulham, but as I said before, there are a lot of those bottom teams that I don't know where they're going to get goals from. Fulham were the only one that I said Mitrovic will get you goals, and so that's why they've conceded more. So I don't think the problem at the back will be as much of an issue going through the season as it has been in these first 2 games, just because they've come up against. They'll obviously struggle, I think, against like Man City and Chelsea, who have again those strong forward lines. But when they're coming against the bottom table, the mid-table teams, I think they'll be fine because they'll outscore them easily.
That's fair. Well, we'll just have to see on that, because we haven't seen Leeds in the Prem for a very long time. Completely different team. It's one of those teams that they could do a Sheffield or a Wolves come up and have a great first season. They can't do a Leicester,
but they've also brought in Rodrigo, which you haven't really seen anything from yet. So they've also got that to add to them as well. So they've got class in their team. I think they'll do really well.
I agree. They're definitely, for me, they're definitely a top half team. But I just put them at 10th because they're a bit of an enigma. Like, they're a newly promoted side. We've only seen what they can do in the Championship. Can they reflect that on the Prem? So you number 10. What is yours?
Mine was Wolves.
Okay. Yeah.
Which at first I felt a bit uncomfortable putting them down there, just because I do rate Wolves quite highly. I think they're quite a good team. But I have my issues with, they've got rid of Doherty, they've got rid of Jota, and they've not got anything. They've not brought anything in.
Yeah.
So they're automatically a weaker team from last season. And again, it's one of those situations that the teams around them that they're competing against, bar Sheffield, everyone else has added to their team in some way, whereas they haven't. And I just don't think, they'll get as many results. They've lost a good goal scorer for them in Jota. They've lost someone who performed really well at the back for them in Doherty. Let me quickly pull up the team just to.
Well, they've still got Raul Jimenez. They've still got Ruben Neves, Patricio in goal. They have a solid squad. I am going to back you here as well. I'm just going to say I put Wolves 9th, so one place ahead. I did consider them putting them higher, but I was a bit, it's they haven't strengthened their squad.
It's a thing that I initially wanted to put them higher, but then when I thought about it realistically, there's other teams that I think are going to be higher.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They don't have a bad squad by no means. They're miles better than the teams that I'll put below them. But so I just don't think they'll get as well. If you think where they finished last season, did they beat Man City once, or did they actually beat them twice?
I think they beat them twice, or they drew.
I think they definitely won one. If they did beat them twice, that's 6 points they're not going to get this season.
Yeah,
I can't see them doing it again.
Well,
so that's already 6 points they've lost. So that's why I put them in that 10th spot.
Well, I also said Wolves are one of the luckiest teams in the league in that they had no injuries last season, and I think this season's the season where they're going to get injuries. They have European football, right? They're in the Europa League, aren't they?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I believe they are, and that's what I based this on as well. I feel like having that bigger schedule, it's gonna maybe cause a few more problems in their squad. I don't think they have the depth. I don't think they have the squad depth to be able to replace injured players. So I don't think they're finishing higher than 9th. But they can prove me wrong. I'm very happy for them to prove me wrong. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on Wolves. You have your number 9?
My number 9 is, and it pains me to put them this high, Everton.
Oof.
Because I don't want them to do this well, but I think they will do that well. Personally, I think they'll look quite good. Obviously, they've won both their opening games, which they've won quite well as well. They've scored plenty of goals. They've brought in James Rodriguez and Allen, 2 very good midfielders. Obviously, Rodriguez was obviously going back quite a few years now from his standout year, and then hasn't really been great recently, which is obviously why he's now. Well, he had a failed time at Bayern Munich. He's now left Real Madrid, but he's looked classy still in the games that he has played. I still think he's a great player. Allen was a great player at Napoli. Obviously not one of the standout people, but obviously as a Liverpool fan seeing him last season against us, I think he's a good player. Calvert-Lewin played quite well last season. I think he'll come on more this season just for that bit of extra experience. So, unfortunately, I think Everton can do quite well this season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have them higher, and we'll get to that at some point. But I do agree.
I haven't put them higher because they've still got the little dinosaur on Pickford in goal, who he's going to make mistakes again.
Yeah.
Just because as a goalkeeper, it's so hard. Once you make those mistakes, everyone is on you, and the slightest bit they're on you again. There's so much pressure on it that it's difficult to come back from, and it's very rare that you see keepers come back from it as well. And he did make some very bad mistakes in the league last season, so I just think he'll struggle a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit. I'm not a Pickford fan. I don't think he should be our number one in England either. I don't think Southgate's personally giving a chance to a lot of the younger English goalkeepers, but we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I think that's all you have to say for your number 9. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8. I'll let you go first for this one.
That's where I put Leeds. I think. So I don't think they're good enough to compete in that top 7 slot of those 7 teams that have been up there for the past 4 or 5 seasons. But I think they'll do well to be in that top half of the table.
Okay. I have a controversial opinion here. I think, same as last season, it's going to be Arsenal again.
No, they will not be that low. I'm sorry, they won't be that low. They will not be that low.
I have a reason. I don't think they've strengthened enough in their defence. I think they're really good going forward, but I still don't like their defence. And I thought I've taken into account the 2 games they've played this season already, and I thought they looked a bit lucky to have beaten West Ham, and it sort of changed my opinion. Personally, I've done something here that I'm not proud of, but you will have seen later on, I've a bit overrated Manchester United, considering what happened in our first game of the season. I was originally going to put them at 8th. I've put them way higher than that, but we will talk about it when we get there. But
disgrace, absolute disgrace.
Of course you would say that. But I just personally see like other teams are stronger than Arsenal right now, in my opinion, and it was a bit of a I'd say 8, 7, 6, 5. All of those positions were a bit of a. I really don't know which position I want to put this team in. But I just put Arsenal in 8th, and I put Everton in 7th. I thought Rodriguez looked really good in the games they've played. I think he's been a hell of a signing, and he continued to do that. I don't think he'll lose his form that much. And they've had 2 good wins. Like Tottenham was a bit of a shock win, I would say, and West Brom was pretty a demolition. I think they're a really good side, and as much as you hate to admit it, I think Everton could do very well this season.
They're not as good as Arsenal.
I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying like they could. The league is very much about luck half the time. There's teams that look at Sheffield United. They were so lucky to get 9th last season. I think it was 9th. They were so lucky to get that last season, and now we're predicting them like 16th or wherever we put them. Yeah, 16th.
I'm sorry, luck does not come in that much with the Premier League season over the whole season.
But we're talking one space. We're talking one space. But it's
for me, it's not one space. For me, you put them 4 spaces too low. They are so much better than that. I'm sorry.
We'll see.
Aubameyang is world class. They have a young squad who's only going to get better. They've managed to hang on to Ceballos on loan again. He's going to do great for them. They brought in Willian, who, even though he's getting older, he's still class, and he proved that early doors in the season. They looked really good in the Community Shield game against Liverpool. There's no way they're finishing 8th. They're finishing higher than they did last season.
Well,
they're going to come on further.
They're
definitely going to come on further.
I've I switched between putting Tottenham, Everton, and Arsenal another way round, but I thought after Son and Kane's performance that Tottenham deserved to be a bit higher. I have let the first few games influence me a little bit, and maybe I shouldn't have, but it's the reason why my table's changed a lot.
You put Everton above them. One of your reasons is they beat West Brom, which you've already agreed that West Brom are going to come bottom.
No, I feel like Everton have had a very good transfer window. I feel like
they've had quite a good one, but there's nothing.
No, but I'm not.
They're going to do
better. I'm not saying they're better than Arsenal. I'm not saying they're better than Arsenal. I just think I've taken a lot of risks with this. With these predictions. Look, I wanted to be special. I knew what you were gonna like, the sort of things you were gonna put, just as I knew you'd not put United high, which is which I wasn't gonna do.
I mean,
but I've done it as a United. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like I've taken a few risks. This is what I think, but I've taken more of the who's had a better transfer window, Arsenal or Everton, as a team.
So
I'm not saying Arsenal
players, but Everton had a worse starting point.
Yeah, no, but that's not what I'm saying.
And also, there's always a risk. Everton have always seemed to have good transfer windows, but they don't pay out. They bring in good players, but it doesn't mean they perform.
Shaun, just say Manchester United at 7th. Just get it over with. I can't be
bothered.
They are at 7th. Yeah, I know they are at 7th.
I can't. What is going on in that club? What is going on?
Look,
Jesus Christ! Oh, they're just not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They've not brought in. They brought in Van den Beek. He scored. Well done him. He got a goal in a game where they're already going to lose. You've brought nothing else in. De Gea's unreliable. He's not good anymore. He's nothing near what he used to be. I really feel like just because I don't see them pushing him out of the way for Henderson. I can't see them doing it. I can't see Ollie taking that risk and doing it. It's probably what a lot of the fans would want.
Yeah.
Because of how he's performed, but I can't see him doing it. Your defense is shit. There is no one in that defense that I rate. We
flip-flop in the defense very much. I don't quite. I could sit here all day and just talk about United, but I'm not going to. But there were times last season where Maguire was
by Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but there was times last season when Maguire was having great games. We had clean sheets over and over and over, and you're like, but how? If you're looking at Harry Maguire now, you're just like, well, he's just a slabhead, isn't he? What's he doing in this team? But
I think he could be good if he had the right partner, but you're not giving the right partner. You don't have the right partner in your squad, and you're not going to buy the right partner for him. He needs someone to do the running for him. He can just be the one to make the big change in the air. He can make all the changes, and the other person covers him with pace because he doesn't have it himself, and you don't have it on that team to do that.
I don't think Lindelof is that bad of a player. I actually think he's been our best defender when he's played, but we have Bailly who gets injured over and over. Lindelof's too inconsistent, to be honest. I think when he's good, he's good. When he's not, he's terrible. He lets things fly. He doesn't mark players. He just stands there. He's not fast enough. Same with Maguire.
So your main problem is he just doesn't work well with Maguire, and you have no other options. And you're not going to bring anyone in.
I fully committed to what
you're going to get torn apart this season.
I fully committed to what I've put on the table because I have to. But if I'm thinking about it, I didn't want to put. I wanted to put United where I put them, which you'll see later. And I did put it because I support them and I want them to do well. So it's a bit of bias there. But I don't think we'll do that well. It's just me being optimistic. And if I was being honest, I wanted to put Arsenal about 6th or 7th. But because I put United there, it sort of skewed my decision. And I was like, well, I think Everton had the better transfer season. So I put Everton ahead of them, and I committed to it, and now we're here. Looking back on it, if I wasn't a United fan, I think my table would be a little bit different in that area. But I've tried to squeeze them in where I can. But we'll move on so we can get ahead. You did your 7th pick, right? What was your 7th? You United.
My
You
7th
United.
is it's Manchester United.
So 6th, I put Tottenham. I think they're going to do the same as they did last season. I wanted to actually switch, like I said, Tottenham and Arsenal around, but I obviously took the first games into account, and I thought Son and Kane did incredible in the last game. Was it Son scored 4 goals, Kane had 4 assists? That's insane. And as a strike partnership, I only think they're going to get better and better. I think they were maybe a bit unlucky to lose to Everton, but I didn't watch the game. I only saw a bit of highlights there. I don't know if you watched the game at all, but
no, I didn't. I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can moan at you again.
Why are you gonna moan at me for putting Tottenham 6th?
It's not because you put them there, it's because it means you put Leicester above them.
Oh yeah, I did.
You've just sat here and you've gone how good of a strike partnership that Kane and Son can be, how well they've done, but you're putting Leicester above them. What do Leicester have that's better than Tottenham?
Right, we're back on 6th. Shaun, continue moaning at me for putting Tottenham at 6th and Leicester at 5th.
So I don't know where it's going to get cut, so I'll just start again. I do not see how you think Leicester are going to come above. They've not brought anyone in.
But they still score goals. Anything. They still score goals. They're still solid all over the place. I personally, I think they were a better team than Tottenham last season. And if we're going from judging last season, then they should be ahead of Tottenham this season. Who did Tottenham brought in? Bale, right? We don't know how he's going to perform for them. We have no idea. He hasn't played for fucking Real Madrid. He could play golf for the entire season. We don't fucking know. They brought in Matt.
He's
Matt
still
Doherty.
A world-class player.
No, he's a world-class player. I agree. I totally agree. But we haven't seen him play for.
And there's just
consistent football. And they brought in Matt Doherty, who's good.
You cannot not think about the fact that he is a Tottenham player. Like, although he left, that's where his career started. So he is always going to play better because of just that feeling the fans are going to be behind him. As long as he can stay injury-free, he's going to do well.
But you take it fans are going to be behind him. We're in empty stadiums right now, mate. I get your point.
He's going to get that feeling around that.
I get your point, but I'm taking like the season how it is right now. I think that Tottenham have improved. They've definitely 100% improved. But I think it's so close between Leicester and Tottenham. And I originally had Tottenham at 4th and Leicester at 3rd because I thought Chelsea had too many injuries from their new signings to push, but I've changed my mind on that. But like the start of this season just sort of made me think, okay, I think Leicester's going to do slightly better because they had a good start last season. They had a good half last season, and then the back half was very lackluster. But it's the same with Tottenham. They had a very lackluster second half to the season, and I don't think Tottenham started necessarily very well this season. I think they got shown up by Everton, and the fact that I put Everton at 7th, you disagree with, obviously, as a Liverpool fan. I don't necessarily like Everton.
Just the football part as well. I mean, I don't like them. I don't think you put them that high. I didn't put them that much lower.
Yeah, it's
just
like,
not as good.
It's like mid-table for me. Like that part of the table was more. Any of them could switch around because it's going to be so close. It was so close this year. Literally, what was it? 4th to 8th was like minimal points. It was like 3, 4, 5 points or something between them. Anything can happen in that position, and I think the same's going to happen this year. I think whoever the top teams are going to run away with it again, which is why I
don't think they are. I think you're wrong at that. I don't.
We'll talk about when we get there. I don't think we're going to see a season like last season. I just think it's going to be close at the top, but everyone else is going to be overshadowed. And we'll get there when we get there. You had. Did you do your 6th place?
No,
Go
because I was ranting at you.
Yeah.
My 6th place is Leicester.
Okay.
I haven't put them above Tottenham. I'll put them below.
So we just
They're
switched
not
them
good.
around.
They're not as good. They're not as good.
Your 5th is Tottenham.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll agree to disagree there. We'll agree to disagree.
But I think
I love Leicester. I really think Leicester are a really good team, and it's the reason I put them higher. That's all. It's personal preference. I prefer watching Leicester than I do watching Tottenham.
You can't put the fact that you prefer watching a team. That's the reason I
think they're more entertaining to watch.
By that reason, Liverpool, in my predictions, Liverpool are going to win the league every single season because I prefer watching them to any other team.
Yeah, but but you're a Liverpool fan. I'm not a Liverpool fan.
You can't take
how
much you enjoy watching. You can't take.
I feel like they play the better football as well. Yeah, but it's not. That's the point. We're predicting it. I think Leicester play the better football right now. I think Mourinho's a better manager, but we've had Mourinho. I know what Mourinho football looks like, and I hated it. And we did okay, and then we did shit. And I think the same thing is going to happen to Tottenham. I'm predicting.
But that wasn't just because of how Mourinho was. There was a lot of other things going on at the time that stopped your team playing. There was huge disagreements between the manager and the players, which we don't have at Spurs. So he'll be able to get the best out of it.
We don't have it at Spurs. Weren't there rumours him and Dele Alli fell out? Him and someone else fell out?
Well, Dele Alli's going to be leaving
anyway.
PSG want him, and he's not even been in the squad.
Yeah, but
that's irrelevant. But he can be gone.
But that's the point. Yeah, they're all rumours. No one was saying. The only person that had a problem with Mourinho, according to rumours, was Pogba, and we don't know how true that was because no one ever really said anything. It was all
more
rumours.
Than Pogba had a problem because everyone down towards you could see the difference between when they're playing Mourinho. As soon as Mourinho went, the team completely changed. Mourinho doesn't have that. The Spurs
we played. Just look at Ole when he comes in. We played fine. We were alright, and then after he got the job. We were shit. We were terrible. We had a shit second half to the season that year. We arguably were worse than Mourinho. We had the start of last season was a worse start than we had with Mourinho. And then suddenly we came third. Like it can happen out of nowhere. And the way I've approached this is any team can fucking that 4th to 8th is any team can get those positions. I think it's going to be so close. The 1 to 3 is literally. I think they're going to be off by themselves. You disagree, and that's fine. That's the point. We want to spur a conversation here.
My main problem is you just sat there and went, Tottenham are so good. They've done this, done this. These are playing real. These are playing well. But a team that hasn't done as well, they're going to finish above them.
What do you mean the team that hasn't done as well?
Or the team that doesn't have the players that they have are going to finish above them. You just made a great point for Tottenham to finish high at the table, and then you put another team below them. And
no, they're not. But Leicester.
But
is your argument Leicester aren't a good team?
I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm saying Tottenham are better. Tottenham have better players.
Right,
they will score more goals.
But you're saying that we haven't seen Tottenham's new players in action. They have Bale and Doherty. Have they bought anyone else? I don't remember.
And Reguilon.
All right, fair enough.
Good as well.
Fair enough. I completely forgot about him. I'll be honest. I completely forgot he existed. But that could completely change my mind mid-season. But I'm not going to change the table. Obviously, we're going to keep the prediction as it is. But I'm saying, also, as I see the team now, I see Leicester as the better team because I enjoy watching them play more. I enjoy the way they play football more. I think they're more of an attacking threat. I changed my mind, I guess, with Spurs saying that. I know that's a bit of a contradiction because I just said Son and Kane could be very good, but that could be an anomaly. That could be like one game they fucking dominated. I put Leicester and Tottenham are so close to me. For me, that I just put Leicester on top of Tottenham because last season influenced me and I thought they were the better team last season. That's the reason I switched them. It's literally so close.
But also for me, obviously Vardy is a great striker, but he's going to start falling off soon just because of age, I think.
Yeah, but people have been saying that for years. They've been saying it for 2-3 years.
And it's got to happen at some point.
Yeah,
and then
I don't think it's going to be this season. He just won the Golden Boot. He just won the Golden Boot. That's what influenced me as well. It's also why I put Danny Ings. It's why I put Southampton 14th, because I thought without Danny Ings they'd be terrible. But I feel like Leicester, like them having Vardy still, he's not going to leave. We know 100%. Like it's not like a Danny Ings who could, maybe, possibly, or I think Leicester are the stronger side. And I could be wrong. I'm very happy to be proven wrong. If Tottenham come fifth, they come fifth.
The point is, Vardy, he's not going to leave. That's obviously not a thing. But
yeah,
say he gets injured, which getting older is very likely that it's going to happen more often. They've got no one else to score goals. He scores most of their goals.
You do have a fair point, but I honestly, I let last season, end of last season, for me, influence
something happens to Kane. They have other people who will score goals.
Yeah,
Son will score goals. Bale will score goals. Moura can score goals. That's just why I think they're going to be better. They have the backup that Leicester don't have.
I don't want to sit here and say I don't agree with you, because I do agree with you, but it's so tight between Leicester and Tottenham for me that I decided to put Leicester above them based on last season, based on how well they did last season, how unlucky they were to drop out of top 4. I don't think we should have pipped them to. I don't know how we got third. I don't know how we got fourth. Like how we passed fourth. Sorry, but that was what was going through my head when they were so close. That's what, like 5 to 8th was so close to me. Oh well, 4 to 8th, because I'm not going to take any shit from you here, because I've given myself enough shit for putting Man United 4th, but I have to back my team somewhere. And it's ruined my top half of the table because I did it. Because realistically, they should be 8th or 7th, but I'm banking on my team to get 4.
Easy top 3. Easy top 3. If I'm not 16th.
They're getting nowhere near that.
Yeah, they're not getting anywhere near that. But I want it. I want it so bad. Please. But for me, United depends on what we do in the next 2 weeks. If we get signings or not. I don't think we're getting Sancho. I think people who think we're getting Sancho are fucking lunatics. If we do, fucking well done to the board. But I don't think we're good enough in that area to attract him over. It depends on. It just depends on what happens, how lucky we are, whether the team actually get their fucking legs moving and actually run after a fucking ball, because that Palace game was atrocious. But
genuine question: do you think Pogba's ever actually going to turn up for you?
I think Pogba. But as someone who watches United, I don't think Pogba's a problem. I think Pogba's played. He's been one of our better players. The problem with Pogba was, and a lot of people seem to forget this, he was injured for half of last season. He was out for months and months. We didn't know if he'd even be coming back if we'd sell him, but he came back and apparently he's happier than ever. Came back, and I think he influenced the game just as much as Bruno Fernandes did. I think both of them together worked wonders for us in midfield, which is why it's a shame that the Palace game was I don't think there were the problems. I think they gave the ball away too much during that game, but I think the rest of the team was a nightmare. Scott McTominay, the defense was atrocious that whole game. We weren't playing gated players we should have been playing. We had players injured, like I think Wan-Bissaka's injured, which was a big loss because he's a major part of the team now. And I'm not I feel like as the season goes on, hopefully we strengthen up, but I'm going to be realistic and say United probably aren't going to finish 4th, but I had to back my team just as you had to back Liverpool, you know?
At least I have reasons for backing my team, though.
Yeah, because you're the fucking best team in the league. I get it. Yeah, I know. But I have a reason. I'm a United supporter and I want them to do well. And I think we've got the players to do well. We need more players. We need better players in certain areas. But I think we have the players to get top 4. We did it last season. There's no reason for us not to do it again. But
there is a reason, because other teams around you have signed players and you haven't.
But the window's not over yet. Like we got to take that into account as well.
Realistically, who are you going to sign? Realistically, who are you going to bring?
Who knows? Because we're fucking linked to everyone. but like It's
He's not going to bring anyone in.
We don't know. We don't know.
You're not going
I don't
to.
I don't think we will. I genuinely don't think we will. But the board came out and said a little while ago that they're willing to spend big this season. I haven't seen it, but if they're going to do it, it's going to be the next 2 weeks. But that's what I mean. I can't.
Because that's the only time they can do it. But I can't say. To do it. They haven't done anything.
I can't say United are going to come 8th based on what one bad game. It's a wait and see sort of situation, and obviously you're going to argue that United should be further back. I can argue that United should be further back, but I put them at 4th. They're staying at 4th. We'll see how it goes. If we do worse than last season, we do worse than last season. Shit happens. Who have you got at 4th?
My 4th is Arsenal. Just from what I was saying earlier, I think they have a better team. I think they have a young team that's going to step up because they're going to have more experience. I think Arteta's settling in more, and his system's going to start working better. I think they'll look really good against us in the Community Shield. So I just think they're going to be a much better team this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I do think I've made a mistake putting Arsenal.
But you don't, because you put
No. But I wasn't going to change it after, was I? I stuck with it. I wrote what I did, and was like, it was so close there that I thought Leicester and Tottenham had the stronger squads, because I think Arsenal have made changes, but I think they're just generally, they have a worse defence than, say, Tottenham and, I mean, Leicester maybe not, but I think Leicester are way stronger in the midfield than a lot of other teams. And Everton were a bit of a... I actually wrote down in my notes, I'm putting Everton 7th as a shock pick, because I genuinely feel like they could shock everyone and go higher than they did, and that's what I wanted to put. I think our top 3 are the same though. I think 3rd we both at Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
So
I think they'll do a lot better this season.
They've made some major signings, even though they've been injured.
So my only worry is that they've done too much and that the team won't work together. But I was so disappointed that as a Liverpool fan we didn't get Werner. Seeing him against us made me a bit happy, because God, he should have scored some goals there.
Yeah.
It made me happy that he wasn't doing well, but I think he's a class player. I love Kai Havertz. I think he's a great player. Hakim Ziyech, again, another great player. Pulisic was playing really well until he got injured at the end of last season. So I think that'll be a really good team. I think when they're back from injury, I think they'll play well together. There might be that little bit of... It'll take a little bit of time for them all to start gelling properly, but I think they'll do really well.
Yeah,
I did at one point think they could challenge for the top. I think just from the opening couple of games, maybe, that I don't think they're as good as I expect them to be, and those doubts of the team not gelling just made me keep them at 3rd.
I 100% agree with you on the fact that I also thought they'd maybe even take the title from you, but it was the fact that not even the first few games, it was the fact that a couple of the signings they made were injured, and the fact that they might not gel together. They might not be they've got who was it? Havertz who was playing? Was it Havertz that played against Brighton?
Yeah,
it was Brighton, right? Yeah. And he didn't look amazing, but he started the first game. He played in that first game. I don't know if he started, but he came on in that first game. And you've got 2 players that they bought who are injured, who won't start with him, who will have to come in at a different part of the season, and they'll have to learn how to play. I feel like that's just going to slow down their progress as a team. It's just... injuries are a pain in the arse as it is. Injuries to new signings and them coming out sporadically in the season, you never know what's going to happen, and I think that uncertainty put them at 3rd for me. So, I also think Chelsea are very strong going forward. I think they've got a great attack, one of the best in the league. I think behind you because of something that we'll talk about in a second. But I think they're a bit shaky in defence, and I think that's gonna change when their signings. Because who did they buy that was defender who's injured?
Chilwell.
Yeah. They bought someone else, didn't they? Fuck. I remember. But anyway, like they just need to get over the slump. They're gonna have a slow start. Maybe they weren't fantastic against Brighton. I wouldn't say.
Mostly, I think they should be bringing in a new goalkeeper, which if they do, definitely third.
Yeah,
and
Kepa's
could maybe
atrocious.
even say challenge second. If Kepa stays, I could drop them way down. He's going to make so many
I'd
mistakes.
argue Kepa is worse than De Gea, and I slated De Gea so much this past year.
So how we let Liverpool get that second goal, you cannot make that mistake. That is awful. That is one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen. He's literally passed it to him 5 yards away. That is awful.
Right.
He's so bad.
Yeah. All right. Second, we both put Man City. We're going to say this right now. The reason I put them second and not first, I originally had City first. I thought they'd take the title from you, but Aguero got injured, and he's going to be out for a few months. And Gundogan, sorry, can't even speak, got a positive test for COVID today. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah.
That's two pretty key players for the City squad out. And I'm not going to say Aguero is the best striker in the league, but Aguero is the best striker in the league. So not having him is going to cost City, I think, and it's going to get them second place again. And I think both City, Chelsea, and the first place team, which is obviously Liverpool, are all going to storm away with it and leave everyone else behind. What's your reasoning for putting City?
So I also was originally going to put City top, and until I game against Chelsea, so my argument is more positive for Liverpool than it's negative Man City. But I do have something against them. Is that obviously, as you said about the injuries, also they had defensive problems last season. I don't think they've really fixed those. They've brought in Nathan Ake, yeah, but they've been mugged off by Bournemouth there. Yeah. The amount of money they paid for him. He's not worth that much. They needed a world-class centre-back to come in, and they don't have that.
Did they get rid of Otamendi?
I don't think so.
No. He's shit anyway. But I was like, they should have. But
they had huge defensive problems last season.
Yeah.
And all they've brought in is Nathan Ake. And I think he's good. He's all right. He's not world class.
No, I agree.
Stones still sitting there who doesn't do anything. They've got Otamendi who isn't that great. A massive hole was put in that defence when Company left, and they've not done anything to do with that, and they've not done anything else. Yeah, I think they're too weak in defence.
Yeah,
Sane. Admittedly, they played a lot of last season without him, but they got rid of Sane, who I think is a great player. I don't know why they let him go.
Pep's a fraud. Sorry.
Yeah,
it could go. They could get first.
You can never write them off.
No,
that's the thing. They still have so much depth elsewhere. They're still a class team, but you can never write them off. But I just don't think they've done enough work defensively to be able to rectify what the problem was last year.
Before we talk about Liverpool, is there any team you think has the best depth? Do you think it's City? Like in terms of their actual squad depth,
yes.
If a player goes, yeah. I would agree. That's why I wanted to bring it up here.
So they, apart from like centre backs, probably everywhere else, they have a player who is either equal in quality or almost as equal in quality to fill in.
Yeah.
That's what the other teams haven't been able to keep up with them in seasons recently. Is for that reason. Is that Sterling can't play a game, or he played in a European game during the week. They bring Mahrez in, and they just have someone else to bring in who is just going to do the exact same job and do it just as well. And no other team in the league has that.
100% agree. They have the best squad in the league, I would argue. And we'll just move on to Liverpool. I think you're going to retain the title, as much as it pains me to say it. I do think at times you're questionable at the back. I think it what was it? Was it Trent who like the goal was disallowed, but he made a major mistake
against Leeds.
Against Leeds.
Yeah.
And that was I don't think Alisson is as strong as everyone makes out to be. I think he's a great keeper. I think Ederson is better. I think Alisson makes a few too many mistakes for you. He gives the ball away a lot at the back. He's kind of he does a bit of a De Gea sometimes. But I think overall you have the best front three in the league, and with like additions like THIAGO, I think you're gonna storm away with it again. I don't think it's going to be as dominant as last season, especially after the first game with Leeds, because they made you a bit they made you look a bit shaky. But I think you'll still win the league, and I don't think there's much else to say. Van Dijk's still awesome. He's still probably the best centre back in the world. You got Mane, probably the best attacking player in the world. There's not much else to say, is there?
So I had my reservation at the start when we weren't looking like to sign anyone. I was worried about that because it's then just another transfer window of not really, because that's going back to the City thing, is we don't have the depth of them that I was worried about. That is that we were quite lucky last season with injuries that we didn't get that many. Mm-hmm. And if that was to happen, we'd be in trouble. I still do worry a bit about centre backs just because we only have 3 properly senior centre backs, and 2 of them missed the Chelsea game.
Yeah,
Gomez and Matip. So if something happens to one of them, or if God forbid something happens to Van Dijk, then we're a bit screwed. Obviously, we brought THIAGO in, which then does free up Firmino, who, for saying he's not a centre back, he played very well at centre back against Chelsea. So that gives him a bit of confidence. But so as long as we can stay fit up front, I think that's obviously going to be a huge bonus. I don't think we'll run away with it like we did last season.
Yeah,
I think we'll probably be in a. I think we're attacking wise, we're obviously going to be in a bit of better position than at the end of last season when we did actually lose a couple of games. Just because I think Mino's had that bit more time with the squad, that he's going to probably settle in a bit more. I think he can do much more of a job than he did at the end of the season.
I completely forgot you bought him.
We bought Jota in, who bit questionable for me. I'm not sure on it. I think he's a good player.
I don't think he needed him.
I don't know how much time he'll get. That's my issue. So I can't see him starting ahead of Firmino.
No, he won't.
So that
he's not
puts him back
Firmino
into cup games. So I like that he's brought someone in just to give that bit of competition to Firmino, so that it might make him work a bit harder and give that extra option. But yeah, and it's nice to have that bit of depth. But obviously, it's not for me a first 11 signing that's a big thing. The big one for me is THIAGO. Yeah. Obviously, he's just phenomenal. What he did in those 45 minutes when he came on was so good. He's just bolstered that midfield massively. So creative. Mane and Salah are going to benefit so much from him being in there, and just seeing that is why I've kept them above Man City.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
But I don't think we'll obviously go on the massive unbeaten run we did last season. It's basically impossible that we'll be able to do that again. But I just think, just with the past couple of days, we've done enough to actually just solidify us a bit more and just give me that confidence that we can actually go and do it again.
Okay. Well, I think we've run the course. We've done probably over an hour, maybe more. I don't think there's anything else we need to say. We'll be looking forward to seeing how the predictions pan out. Who I think we should do a sort of deal between us two. Some sort of whoever
gets more right.
Yeah, whoever gets more right has to buy. I don't know. So we don't have to go overboard. A round of drinks for everyone or something. So just something
up the stakes. Up the stakes.
I'm too poor, Sean. But we'll figure something out. I'll put the tables up side by side at the end of the video, or probably from now, or probably from when the Liverpool conversation started, because everyone knows what's going to happen there. But I will have that up just so everyone.
Or learn to properly edit and slowly reveal them through the entire thing.
I could do that.
You've got enough time on your hands to do it.
I use OpenShot, and that's not a very good site. But I'd have to.
Wow, not going to get a sponsorship from those, are we?
No, we're not, Sean. No, we're not. But I think we're done. Go on, say goodbye, Sean. You're always good at intros and outros.
Intros I'm good at. Outros I'm not. This is probably the best intro I've done so far.
Is it? I liked the one where you said the numbers Mason, and the one where you had to sing as well.
I mean, I barely sung the Bugsnax song. If Man United get 4th place, which for some reason you think they will, I will take any forfeit. I'll say it now.
All right. Okay.
That's how much I strongly believe that you are shit.
Okay. All right.
And we're not doing anything.
We'll take that. We'll take. And
I'll take it for, and it can be shown. I'll filmed, whatever. I'll do it.
I hope you're listening to this, Jack. He'll do it. All right. We'll leave it at that.